Hey guys, this is Jackie from Jack Gets Lost on a Book Haul. So I thought I would talk about what I'm going to read next month. It's probably not going to be exactly like what I have on the document on the computer because what I like to do because I love making lists. So I actually wrote down and created a document where I list the books I'm going to read in December. But since then, I've kind of changed. Things have kind of changed a little bit. And I think I am somewhat of a mood reader. I never thought I was, but I think I kind of am in a way. Like a lot of times, my mood is always, I'm always in the mood for almost always in the mood for fantasy. Um, but sometimes that changes. And there's also like books that I will get that I kind of have the urge to read right now. And there's books that I've neglected. That's actually why I'm kind of great. I'm kind of been using the TBR because then it gives me a chance to read the books I've neglected. Although that's a little rocky at best. So I'm just gonna give you a list. All the books I have here that I wanna like read and I want to try to get to like at least in December, if not December into January. Um, so what I might do next year, I might go back to that method of doing TBRs for like within the seasons, like the next few months of that season. Okay, so before this video gets too long, I mean it's already 1 minute and 40 seconds. Okay, so I'm still going to continue reading. So I'll read a little bit more of these two books. I'll probably focus more on reading this one. I'm gonna continue with Stephen King's It. I'm gonna try to get it done. I don't know if I really hope my cousin will, because he asked this weekend while they were visiting for Thanksgiving about borrowing the book, but I'm not even halfway. And I recommended that he could buy it, so I'm hoping that he does, so I won't have to get it, because I have a hard time parting with my books. I'm a bit selfish in that way. So I'm gonna read a little bit more of this. And I'm gonna continue with this one. Like I said, I'm gonna continue trying to get more into Steinbeck. I'm not very far in it, but I do want to continue it. Like my problem is I have a lot of books that I start, but I never finish them. So I did start reading this one, The Memory Keeper's Daughter. Like I said, I was trying to squeeze this in for November, but it did not go well. But it has not gone well, and I don't think I'll be able to get it done within the next few days, especially since I have work. Which, I mean, granted, it's not like the whole day. It's not like 8 hours because I'm only part-time. It's only 4 hours, but still, sometimes. And I do tend to like doing other stuff. So I'm going to continue this. So I need to continue finishing up the next book in this collection of stories. Which is, let's see what the next what book am I on? Secret Identity. I need to get that one done. She's a very I like her, but she also kind of has a little confusing writing style. Let's see, where is it? Oh, I have all these books over there. Let me just go through all these. So, this is a book that my sister loaned me, so I want to get this finished so I can give it back to her along with the other book, the other Amy Tan book. So I'm gonna read that one. That is The Kitchen God's Wife, about this actually does not have the right address. Since then, she has been married. Since first got this book, she's been married and has moved twice now. Well, 3 times if you count college. So I want to finish this. And this is another book that our friends, the husband is a reader as well, and he gave me a whole bunch of their books. So this is one of their books I need to get. The Lion Theme Between Oceans. I want to read that one. And I want to read, this is another one, this is one of the ones that I've been neglecting. I don't know if I want to keep it or not, but that is Virginia Woolf's To the Lighthouse. So I want to read it. I decided to read it now because if I don't like it, then I can just donate it to the bookstore. Just get it done and over with, so to speak. Let's see if I can get to. Okay, well, let me just. I'll tell you about those in a while. Okay, so I want to read this. I want to read a little bit more of this one. This is the Band of Chronicles. I'm hoping to actually get the Tales from Shadowhunter Academy. I want to get that one for Christmas. That was on my Christmas list, so I figured I better get started on reading this one now. And then, of course, I do have all the other books she's written lately, like she started the Dark Artificer series. I need to buy that one. So that might be either I might buy it on my own or that might be a birthday gift. So I definitely want to read this. I want to continue with this. I've already only read one story in this. I'm kind of in the middle of I started the next story. I'm kind of in the middle of The Runaway Queen, which I think is the second story. Although I might change this bookmark when I get to it, but I definitely need to read that one. I want to continue that one. Let's see. Okay, so I made a lot of false starts in books, and I've been rereading the Lunar. Like I said, I'm deciding when I start reading Stars Above, I decided to rebuy the books. So I bought them, and I started rereading Cinder again. But I've stopped at chapter 16, I believe. Yep. Or no, 18. Chapter 18. So I need to continue that. I definitely want to continue that. I actually started a group on Facebook where we're rereading the book, the series. And then this is another series that I had already got to at least halfway through book 3 years ago, but then I was like, I took a way too long of a break and decided to reread the series. So I got through the first book and I'm on the second book, but obviously I kind of took a break from it and haven't come back to it since. So I want to read this one. I want to continue with this one. I basically picked out, a lot of the books I picked out for next month are books that I have a bookmark in them. I've started reading them. And I just haven't continued with them. Let's see, what else? Okay, well, I'll go ahead and show you this one. I'm basically showing you books that I can't, that are just easier for me to get to. So I wanted to read this for Tome Topple, but I never got around to it because I knew I had to continue. I had to finish Goblet of Fire. And it just, and I was in the middle of it, and I hadn't got very far in this book, and I was also needed to read East of Eden, and I got a little bit farther in this one. I've only got, like, some of the prologue read in this one, so I was like, you know what, I may as well just stick with focusing on those 3 books. So I did, and unfortunately, so I want to try to read this one in the winter time. And luckily for me, I got all 3 books in the trilogy in this edition. So that is totally awesome. It's always exciting it is very exciting when you get the right editions, because it does look weird when all your books in a series are not the same size. or have the same cover or something like that. Although it's easier to hide the cover because, books are normally, when you put them on your shelf, you put them like this. So covers are a little bit easier to hide, but some people, and I understand that, some people just, they can't stand when their books, the covers don't match. It bothers them, which is understandable, and at this point, I don't get why authors keep changing the covers. But then I guess they have to have the movie tie-in edition to make money, and, they think they know. So, yeah. But like I said, and the other thing is it just looks weird when they're all different sizes. So I'm gonna try to read a little bit more of that one. And I just gotta pick better times to focus on books like that. Because there are times when I can't focus on a book like that. Because the writing is very dense. And, if I'm tired, it's hard. I lose concentration really easily. Okay, so, let's see. Okay, well, I'll just go ahead and whatever I can grab. So, this is another one I started. I got as far as, chapter 4. Not very far, obviously. And that is Voyager, book 3 in the Outlander series. I want to read that, and I definitely want to get back into watching the TV series, because we do actually have stars. I just haven't got around to it. So, I'm gonna get into the series. I might get into watching the TV series. This is actually an used copy in the sense that it belonged to my cousin and she was gonna let me borrow it, but then we took her to the country bookstore and she ended up buying her own copy, which I think was partly my fault because I think I pointed out to her the books, and consciously I didn't intend to. I wasn't intending to hint to her, buy the book so I can keep your copy. I probably was gonna buy my own copy, but then she decided to buy it herself and let me keep this one. That's why it's kind of battered and, but that doesn't really bother me usually. It just bothers me when pages are folded and they're damp. So I need to continue that one. So I might get into that one this month or this winter. So this month I was kind of hoping to do a December Dragons month, where basically every book's about dragons. This is a book I got from when I went to SuperCon in Raleigh with my best friend Terry. And this woman was selling these books on dragon. I think she was the publisher. I don't think she was the author. So she was selling these books, and I decided to get them because, it's a little different. It's not paranormal romance or anything like that. It is actually about dragons. So I think those would be very interesting. So this one I want to get to this month. I also want to get to continue with, this is another book that I started, but to be fair, I already read this book. That I wanted to continue with and of course I'm sure all of you know from because these books have been out for a while, this is a boy who he finds this dragon egg in the middle of the woods, and then he ends up becoming a dragon rider, and he's he's resurrecting the dragon riders, so to speak. So I wanted to reread this series because I have not read the last book, and I figured I should go ahead and reread the first 3 books. And I'm hoping one day to give some of these middle school books, if I might keep them just so I can give them to my nephews. And they're dragons, so it's okay. It is a boy-related book. Just kidding. A boy. So I want to continue this series, and like I said, it is a dragon book, so it's another dragon-related series that I want to read. Actually, this one I don't think is a series. I don't know if it is or not. And then let's see. I want to read this one, Phalangian, which the Dragon Rider Chronicles, which has nothing to do with that series. It's just they're also called Dragon Riders. These characters. And this is middle grade, so it shouldn't take me too long to read. And like I said, it was about dragons, so I was kind of curious about the whole idea of dragons. And one of the few times I was able to buy all the series, which is really awesome. She was like the woman. It's the same where I got that other dragon book I showed you. And there was a sale going on, and she had like 2 copies left of all 4 books in the series, so I ended up buying one of the copies. I got very lucky actually because she said they were selling really quickly. This is not a dragon book, but I bought this book because I had been getting to V. Schwab. I read A Darker Shade of Magic. I still need to continue into the second book, which the title of it escapes my mind right now. Gathering of Shadows, and then Conjuring of Light is the third book. So I have not bought that one yet, because I'm kind of waiting for the paperback edition to come to our Books A Million. And I am in a group. I ended up joining a group that celebrates V. Schwab and her writing. And they decided that they would read that book for December. So I am going to read this month. And I'm very excited about it because I've heard a lot of positive things about this and how cool this book is. And the author finally is writing a sequel to this book. Which, I know, considering that I'm trying to be an author myself, I can kind of understand how it can take a long time to write the next book in a series for some authors. Okay, so, again, not another dragon book, but one I need to continue. If you've seen the other previous videos that I talk about how I need to continue Queen of Shadows. So, and I'm actually asking for Tower of Dawn for Christmas. So I want to read this one so I can read Empire of Storms and then I can read Tower of Dawn. And like I said, I'm kind of struggling with this book for, the fact that I'm a Kale fan and things are not going well for Kale right now. Selena's pretty pissed at him, which you can't blame her for falling out of love with him and being still angry with him. And you can't blame him for being angry with her. So there is a lot of tension and not sexual tension between the two of them. And they're both very hurt by the other, so things are just not, I hope by the end of the book she's a little more forgiving of him. And he's a little more forgiving of her. So I don't know, but it's taking me a while, but I still love Sarah J. Maas and her writing. I know there's a lot of things that she's not great. There's a lot of things that people complain about her, but so far I still like her. And I still like the characters. I don't think I'm going to get to film any more videos today because I want to go for my run and I want to do it before dinner. So, okay, well, let me real quick. Okay, so another dragon book. One of the booktubers, Sam's Nonsense, constantly talks about Robin Hobb. I got this book years ago before I joined BookTube. And it's a dragon book. Granted, it is not the first book in the series because this is an author from what Sam from Nonsense has said about this author. She writes a lot of, I think it's a female. She writes like a lot of series, like the Dragonlance. It's kind of set up like the Dragonlance books, where she writes a bunch of trilogies that are and there's a chronological order to them, so they're all kind of linked. But I'm gonna go ahead and read this one. I'm gonna try to get to this one this month. Okay, so let's see. So those are all my dragon books. Well, let me show you this one. That's the only problem with this seat is it's not very secure. in its positioning. Okay, so I'll fix that later as long as it's still sitting, it's still there and not falling. Okay, so this is not a dragon book, but this is, about the whole legend of Merlin. I've been wanting to get to this one and continue it because this was a book that someone recommended to me, I believe. And then I saw it at Books A Million. So, I definitely want to continue reading this. Hopefully the other books will be there at the bookstore, or I might have to buy them online, with my mom's help, of course. So I want to continue this one. Okay, let's put that. And then the last dragon book I have here is, actually Queen Shadows does have a dragon in it. And that is The Eyes of the Dragon, a Stephen King fantasy. I could have read this for Tome Topple, actually, because it's, oh wait, no, it's not. It's only 326 pages. Never mind. So I couldn't have. So this is like medieval times. It's one of the fantasies he wrote, about dragons, and so, obviously, so I'm gonna read it. I want to read this. I can't really give much. I think this is a book that my dad bought from the library, because it has library binding and stuff. So I'm gonna read that one too. Okay, so these next few books are books that I've okay, so let me just go ahead and show you the ones that I started reading. Okay. Alright. Okay. So this is the fourth book in the Dark Tower series, although I thought about rereading the books, the first 3 books, but I don't know, that might take me a long time. So, this is the fourth book, and I'm told this is more, you don't necessarily have to read it, because it doesn't move the story along. It just kind of, I think, Roland, the main character, is telling his companions a story or a legend or something. But I am gonna read it because it's part of the series. So I'm gonna continue this. Again, I haven't got very far in it. That's my Hobbit bookmark. So I'm gonna continue with that one. Another Stephen King. I also started this one when we last went to Virginia to visit my sister. I started this one because I just had the urge to read it, but I never got very far in it. But I figured, because for one, I love stories about characters in Paris and stuff. And this was a book that, again, the same friend who loaned me The Memories Keeper Daughter and all that, he gave my mom and I this book, so I'm going to continue it. And it doesn't look like that long of a read. And the chapters, the little bit I have read so far, the chapters are really short. Okay, so there's that one. So I'm also going to continue with Donna Tartt's The Secret History. I borrowed this from the library around the same time that I borrowed East of Eden, and then I returned it along with East of Eden, and just with both of those, I bought my own copies. So I'm not very far in it, but I'm going to continue with this one. And today, which I'm going to show you in a little bit, I actually bought The Goldfinch at a sale at our bookstore, at our used bookstore. I started this one too, and this is A Tree Grows in Brooklyn. This was another book that Words of a Reader talked about, and I decided to check it out. And this was actually also another book that the same person who gave me, the other books I mentioned, Memories Keeper's Daughter, he gave us this copy, so I'm going to read that one. And then, ever since the musical 1776, ever since I saw that one, and now I have the DVD and stuff, I have been obsessed with learning about John Adams. So I wanted to get this, the biography of John Adams by David McCullough. I did start this before we moved, so it's been a long time, and I need to get back to it and continue reading it so I can read his other book, 1776. I love the 1700s. I don't know why, but I've always been interested in that time period. Okay, and then these last ones I want to get to. Again, another book that has that I got this from the same person who gave me The Memory Keeper's Daughter. I'm gonna go ahead and I don't know if I'm gonna keep this or not, because I love the setting and everything, but I might give it to my best friend my best friend Terry, who loves romance. So I don't know about that one. I don't know if I'm gonna read that one or not. Okay, so this next one I've already read, Six of Crows, and I told myself I would wait before I get to this one. So now I'm going to get to it. Crooked Kingdom, which is part 2. It's a duology. And it does end, the Six of Crows does end on a cliffhanger, so I need to get to this one soon. So I'm going to read that one. And this is another book by the same author who wrote The Lunar Chronicles, Marissa Meyer. This is her book, Heartless. I saw it at Walmart, so I decided to buy it. Unfortunately, it's not the one that comes in the book box, but it is a nice, but I love this cover. And, I'm really getting into these hardcover books. It's just they're so expensive. But I bought this hardcover one from Walmart. It's totally awesome, because it wouldn't be cheaper anywhere else, except for maybe if it was at the used bookstore, but I highly doubt it's going to be there. And this is basically the background on the Queen of Hearts. This is her story. And then the last book that I'm going to consider reading is this one, The Uglies, the first book in a trilogy. I'm going to read this one because someone recommended it to me, and I got it for only $1 at the used bookstore, which is totally awesome. So I'm going to read this. Okay, so that was my long November TBR. I don't know if I'll get to those books, but those are books I want to get to either in November or in the next few months. So what are you guys planning on reading in November or in the next few months? Do you guys make TBRs? Do you do monthly TBRs, or do you do season TBRs, or do you just not make TBRs at all? I'm very curious. So if you want to, respond in the comments. And I don't know if this makes a difference, but if you like this video and aren't totally bored, then like my video, and I will talk to you guys later. Alright, bye.